Umunyarwanda yaravuze ngo nawe ujya uvuga ngo yuzure ingobyi. Ni ukuvuga ngo uko babona abandi batangiye gusoroma niko umuntu atangira kugira inyota akavuga ngo burya hari ahavuye hari n'aho ageze, nawe bigatuma aza cyane. Nyine nuko bagenda baganirizwa n'impuguro za buri munsi bagenda babyumva.
When it comes to coffee, there's a disconnect between the origins and what's in your cup. 3 out of 4 Australians drink coffee every day. In America, there is 400 million coffees consumed every day. Coffee is the second most traded commodity in the world. It is the second most consumed beverage outside of water. What we've done along the way is roll the human aspect into it and made the whole thing transactional. There's a lot of effort that has gone into that 1 cup of coffee. Coffee is sourced from all over the world, from people that you will never meet, who have worked very hard to handpick and procure the coffee that you love. But it's also people that you need to support.
Urabona ko iyi ikawa ziragora, ziranavuna kuzikurikirana. Noneho hari igihe usanga amafaranga ari kuvamo ni makeya. Uriya mwaka washize ikiro cyaguze 700, abantu barishima pe, ariko ubu ngubu kiri kugura 400, ni makeya. Igihe cyose rero imirimo yo mu ikawa irakorwa ntihagarara.
Rwanda is a beautiful country. They say it's a country of 1,000 hills. It's hilly, so growing coffee on a mountain needs some energy. There are people that carry an amount of coffee, the cherries.
20, 30, sometimes even 40 kilos on their head. And the women will carry that miles across very mountainous, very treacherous terrain to the washing stations.
Kuba kumwe n'abahinzi birumvikana ni ukubigisha ubuhinzi bwa kawa uhereye ku ngemwe kugera igeze ku isoko.
Kokagi is a cooperative that has so many competitors around. So them not having enough finances has been a barrier to their growth.
So the average income for a coffee grower every year, which they make in 3 months in the harvest period, is $500 USD a year.
Couple that with financial crisis that we had, shipping prices went up. Currencies went down, but not necessarily did the coffee price to the farmer go up. So they might actually work all year and they might actually not even be able to sell their crop for what it cost them to produce it.
Kuko ushobora kubaho neza umwaka umwe, undi bigahinduka kubera ko ziteze, ugasanga nyine abahinzi baracyavunika.
Not only do they have to provide for their families, that's food, healthcare, schooling, they also need to manage their land by fertilisers, compost, more seedlings, weeding. There's a whole process that goes in that, and that's expensive too. So from that one annual income, they need to also maintain their land.
So how are you going to break the cycle if you can't actually work, grow the crops, sell them and not recover the money? You know, it's not going to last forever.
Ikawa imbuto suko itera ahubwo ni bwa buryo bwo gukena ifumbire n'isaso. Hari ikawa dufite irera yewe.
So abagore bahura n'imbogamizi. Hari ibigega byagiye biza bifasha abagore mu iterambere, ariko abagore ntago bajya babaha amafaranga angana nk'ay'abagabo kuri banki buriya.
When we look at coffee, 80% of the coffee that is grown in the world is grown by small farm holders. The vast majority are female, and unfortunately in the process they've been left behind or they don't have a voice.
Nta cyangombwa cy'ubutaka mufite. Bizakubera imbogamizi nk'umugore nujya gushaka ingwate nujya gushaka inguzanyo kugira ngo ukoreshe muri bwa buhinzi ko nta cyangombwa ufite.
One of the stats that I first learnt when I was in here in 2015 was that for every dollar that a male makes, around 50 cents goes back into the household, as compared to a female, where it's more than 90 cents. 90 cents in the dollar.
If they don't have access to the information or the techniques, they don't know how to manage their crop in a way to help them earn a higher yield and make sure they still be profitable from it.
Tukongera umubare w'ibiti bya kawa dufite, tubikorera neza, bidufasha kongera umusaruro mu buryo bwinshi kugira ngo duhangane na cya kibazo cyo kuvuga ngo dutanga igishoro cyinshi ariko ibituzira ni bike, nuko yenda igihe kinini n'ubundi n'umusaruro tuba dufite ni muke. Nk'iyi minsi ya none ihindagurika ry'ikirere rigenda riteza ikibazo ku buhinzi bwa kawa muri rusange. Uko ikawa yera tumenyere ko ikawa irabya mu kwezi kwa karindwi, mu kwezi kwa karindwi, mu kwezi kwa munani. Iyo ntuzi iri gufloriza aka kanya nta kizamarira wa muturage cyangwa koperative, kubera kuko izera muri bya bihe bitagikenewe n'ibijyanye no gutunganya kawa byose byarangiye.
Kubona ifumbire y'imborera biratugora cyane, nanone n'uburyo bwo kubona isaso yo kuzisasira.
Iyo imvura itaguye igihe, nko mu Rwanda tumenyereye ko imvura igwa mu kwezi kwa 9, iyo iguye mu kwezi kwa 11 cyangwa mu kwezi kwa 12, urumva abahinzi kimwe cyo batakaza sezo, guhinga ntago biba bicyoroshye, kandi noneho nyine n'umusaruro uba ari ntawo, then hakaza inzara kubera.
We've seen so much positive impact since I first came here in 2015, but there are still a lot of challenges that are happening right here at the origin. That's around finances, it's around education, it's around being paid the right money for the coffee, but it goes beyond that. It's also around that next generation.
One of the challenges that they were facing at the time was the fact that the youth didn't want to come and become a coffee grower because they saw how hard it was for their parents.
Ababyeyi bacu bagihinze bari kugenda basaza. Turahamagara rwa rubyiruko mu nzozi zanjye, turahamagarira rwa rubyiruko b'abana baba ababyeyi b'abanyamuryango kugira ngo baze mu buhinzi bwa kawa.
And if you see your parents struggle, if you see what your parents have had to go through, why would you want to go down that same path? So it's really important that we continue to make the positive impact so that we can see that next generation come through and want to be part of the coffee industry.
They have given this land to the youth, and we're seeing a whole bunch of young people come through and wanting to be coffee growers and seeing that it can be profitable. And it's profitable because we invested in them.
Noneho rero nyine tumaze kumva ko hari umufatanyabikorwa uje akeneye gufasha umugore, twumvishe tugize imbaraga ndetse turanitinyuka, tubasha gukora dushize amanga, mwabyiboneye.
It's a movement to put people first and making sure that that consumer starts to become aware of how coffee is grown and the challenges that are faced at origin, and just growing that appreciation and understanding of that harvest. We started funding in Rwanda when Trent had a trip to Origin in 2015, and he met the female coffee farmers at TUK.
At that point in time, many of the female coffee growers didn't even know what coffee was.
It was about making sure that we could support that community. We didn't know how, because again, we had just started.
They wanted to sell more crops. They wanted to sell more coffee, and they knew that the more that they sell, the more that they have for their family, the more that they can support the future generation, whether that be through putting them through school, healthcare, developing their lives.
We did a trip together in 2019 and we met this wonderful community. They told us what they needed and we funded that for them.
We made some investments originally in goats, solar lamps, We actually developed the cupping lab so that the female coffee grower that I first met could understand the full process by actually tasting her own coffee. Now that's resulted in over 8 hectares of land, 20,000 coffee trees.
Muri izi nkunga mwaduteye muri uyu musaruro dusarura no kuvuga ngo buri mugore agira nk'uruhare rwe ku buryo yibonamo akisanga mu gikorwa niba ari umusaruro usaruwe akaba afiteho urwe ruhare yisangamo akavuga nti nanjye uruhare n'urwanjye kandi ni Centre Mio yaduteye inkunga masambu turayahinga masambu mbese twisanzemo.
When we approach projects, I think it's really important that we ask them, what do you need? I think so often when people are wanting to do good, sometimes they say, oh, well, we'll just do this for you. And they think that that's going to be a great solution. The intent of good is there. But our approach has always been very different from the start. We ask the community, and that's also part of that, empowering them in business. No one knows this better than them.
Since Centre Mio came and put their investment, this has boosted their stability in the area.
dukenera n'amahugurwa bya bindi dukora kugira ngo turusheho kugira ute kubinoza neza. Abaterankunga nyine ngo basitwe ko nta bushobozi dufite bwo gukora amahugurwa, abaterankunga nyine nka Centre Mio yadutera inkunga ikajya iduhugura.
So we fund the agronomists here at Cockagy. So again, that knowledge, showing them how to farm sustainably, how to treat the land, how to manage their crops professionally, changes them from being a farmer into a business owner. And we're giving them that access to information. So important, it's key.
It's great to buy certified coffees. It's outstanding because we know then at least that there's processes in place. But on top of that, we're investing in the farmers so that we can hear from them what is actually happening because we need to be in touch with that.
Ndabyishimiye kuba Centre Mio yarateye Cockagy inkunga byahinduye imibereho ku bantu benshi. Cockagy ubwacu twungutse ibikorwa, twungutse ikawa, twungutse imirima, twungutse n'ikawa.
Rwanda is very progressive when it comes to female empowerment, and this is a great example, a global example of what empowering women can really achieve.
None n'abandi batari muri Cockagy bari kujya gukoramo bakabona amafaranga akabagirira umumaro mu ngo zabo. Urumva ni igikorwa twarungutse nka koperative n'abantu badukikije batari abanyamuryango nabo bungutse akazi.
Centre Mio yaje muri Cockagy ari nk'igisubizo kije gufasha bwa mbere abagore kwivana mu bukene, hanyuma no kwinjira mu ikawa nka business, tukava muri twaduhida muri bwa buhinzi bwacu bwa buri munsi twahingaga kugira ngo tubeho tu simplement. Ahubwo none ni business igihe kirambye cyongeye kirambye.
When we fund projects, we are gifting them back to the community. This is for Rwanda. We will purchase the coffee back from them, so it goes back into this community. So it's full circle.
You know, the positive impact that we've had, not just on whether it be the 8 hectares of land or, you know, the 20,000 trees that are going to mature, but to see the impact that it's had on the community, the members, the 1,100 plus members in the Cockagy, and then the 16,000 people that it's impacted in this local community.
I'm very, very proud to see how far they've come and that they've started to overcome some of the challenges that were there when we spoke with them 4 years ago. So to see young people in the fields and harvesting and making sure that they can provide for their families as they're growing and developing, for me is just amazing because the youth are the future.
So often when we're talking about that commodity of coffee, we're talking about price rises and price hikes and, you know, we're talking about the cup of coffee. We're talking about the barista. But what about the actual person who's actually growing your coffee?
Our job is to bring that information to you, to challenge how you look and think about coffee and what that one individual cup can do. And ask yourself, is it sustainably sourced? What is that company doing to support people at origin? How are they supporting those communities? Because if they're not and they're eroding it, then we continue to perpetuate that cycle of poverty. And I want consumers to be consciously aware about their choices and knowing that their choice can help us break that cycle.
Mu kugira icyo mbwira abagura ikawa ya Centre Mio, kimwe cyo Centre Mio igura ikawa nyine y'iwacu mu Rwanda, by'umwihariko ikayizagura n'ikawa yo Cockagy. iyo rero iguze ikawa ya kokagi by'umwihariko iraje kugira ngo irwanye ubukene muri ba banyarwanda ba kokagi, baba abanyamuryango cyangwa se abahinzi muri rusange.
habonetse rero abandi baterankunga baza biyongeraho, byarushaho kuba byiza kandi byazamura imibereho ku bantu benshi.
Inzozi zanjye ku muhinzi wa kawa yenda mu gihe kizaza ni uko nyine nzaba mfite wa muhinzi, yaba umunyamuryango wa koperative cyangwa muri zone akoreramo. Uyu munsi tusuye nk'urugo runaka, mu myaka iri imbere twazasanga niba yarafite inzu yenda y'amabati nka 20, ni urugero yenda byoroshye, tukazamusanga yenda ari mu nzu y'amabati 60 irimo umuriro, irimo amazi, irimo sima. Nimba atambaraga neza yambara neza, byo kwambara neza byabaye umuco, abana be bose bajya mu ishuri babikesha kawa. Nta mwana w'umuhinzi wa kawa cyangwa umunyamuryango wa koperative ushobora gusigara inyuma kubera ko yabuze amafaranga yo kujya mu ikawa. Kandi
I would never have thought of that in October 2015, that if you fast forward to today, that this is the impact that we would have had, and this is the journey that St Remio would have taken us in.
As coffee consumers, and as the consumption is, you can see, is so huge, we need to understand our role within coffee and how our choices have a direct impact, and against linking those two together.
We can either perpetuate the cycle of poverty, or we can understand the process and be the solution.
It's got to be about accountability, traceability, and sustainability. We owe the coffee growers around the world all of that.
We know that people think it's out of sight, out of mind. I know that our cup of coffee is important to us, but what's more important is the people behind it. Because if we don't change the focus and we don't talk about the people who are actually growing the coffee, then we're not going to have coffee in the future.
And if we don't look after them, invest in them, and give them a bright future in coffee, then the product we love so much, there's going to be issues in the future. We're seeing them now, but it will only increase.
We are humans, and love connects people. Once one loves another, the world becomes beautiful. And as a farmer, if we eat from the farm, we eat the food from the farm, please support farmers. Let's respect farmers, because once we respect farmers, we are respecting the food that we eat. And once we respect the farmers, we are keeping the world safe.